everybody. Tonight we have a special guest artist from Pittsburgh. His name is Nick Romeo, and he's going to talk about his art and a little bit of a interesting name that he goes by sometimes, I believe. So we're going to ask him about that. Okay, Nick. So before we get into things, I noticed that on your one Facebook page that you call yourself Odd Stew. So I wondered how that came about and why you call yourself that.
Well,
you don't look odd, so
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but no. I had a band before called Surviving the Odyssey, and that's the STO part. And we all had our stage names, and I took the stage name of Odd. My wife was Indigo. Our buddy was Crimson, spelled with a K. And we each picked our Facebook, and before Facebook, that platform called MySpace.
Yes.
We were on MySpace, and that was actually our names on that platform. And then when Facebook became the thing, unfortunately, I actually like MySpace better. But anyway, no one asked me. But
I know that's same with me. It was nice to be on MySpace.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's another reason. I'll get to that, but that's at least the odd, and then .sto, Surviving the Odyssey. So, MySpace I liked a lot better. The Facebook I'm not on too much. That's why I don't even use my real name, because I dabble on there, but I don't really actively pursue the Facebook. I am on Instagram, but I know we're going to talk about that at the end. But that's actually my preferred social network, and also LinkedIn. But Facebook, I'm not a fan. It's a little on the annoying side most of the time. I don't even bother too much. But we met on Facebook, so hey, it's not all bad.
Yeah, it was kind of iffy during the political race and everything and all the other things that were going on. But I do have family that I kind of touch base with. And then sometimes I put my art on there, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to really get into Facebook too much. Yeah, I understand that. Well, tell our viewers a little bit about your background. And now are you still a musician, or are you mostly an artist person, or are you combined?
Yeah, combined. I really enjoy all the arts, and I like to pursue all of it. I even have gotten into sewing now. I looked on a few YouTube vids, and I said, hey, I want to make a tie. So I have a few of them here.
Nice.
Cats. So let me see.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to, kind of dabble with the hands. I do a lot of digital arts, 3D digital renderings, solid modeling, and electronic music. And again, all done on the computer. Also do fractal generations and photography, and again, digital photography, manipulate the images through Photoshop and such. But work a little too much on the computer sometimes. So
so do I. I mean, it's between my phone and the computer. I'm just constantly. I do a lot of editing with the videos that I, create, but it is a part of our lives. I mean, when I first went to college, and I went later in life, there was nothing to do with computer science. And then when I graduated, I was like the only one that really knew how to do computer work. And I was always the one that they asked to troubleshoot. And then it just kind of progressed from there. And it was from the 90s, it just went, and now I have a harder time with a lot of the programs. I don't know. I imagine if you're on it all the time with some of these programs, it gets a little easier, but yeah. So.
And I work in the drafting design field, and a lot of that is solid modeling, 3D renderings. So I just continue using those programs. I use AutoCAD, Revit, Inventor,
Okay.
and I use those programs to create some of these art pieces. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I'm already dabbling all day with it. So I go ahead on to the night after dinner, into the wee hours of the morning sometimes.
Oh, wow. Well, where I originally got my first job, I used to have to draw. I was in the gas industry, and I used to have to draw all the pipeline installations.
Oh,
And then they started to go into that CAD Pro and doing it digitally. So yeah, that I think is so much easier. And then when I retired, before I retired, the person that I worked for at the time, he did a lot of the CAD Pro because it was like the production side of uh, gas industry. Is your industry gas, or is it a utility, or just construction?
it is actually the people mover systems,
Oh,
and
oh,
also I in architecture I do homes and also a little bit of commercial property as well.
oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I'll be called to take measurements of a house and draw the thing, whether they want 2 floors or the entire house,
Oh,
and I'll go ahead and create the drawings and even the elevations and.
are
Um,
you like an independent contractor type person, or?
I do independent work and I also work for a company. So I
So are you,
I'm
well,
always,
so how did you become an artist? I mean, were you self-taught, or did you grow up doing the arts, as far as, or like, do you have to give
so
that?
yeah, as for the artworks, I've always dabbled in them. I started at a wee early age where I'd make my own magazines and
Oh,
kind of like a Mad magazine, but I had my own, and it had jokes. I made my own comic books. Again, my hand drawings were never where they should be for that industry, but from there, my dad was into the drafting design.
okay.
Business. My mom did sewing. She did, drawings as well. So I
Oh,
grew up. Oh, my dad also did stained glass as well.
oh,
Uh,
nice. Yeah.
yeah, had a whole workshop and everything,
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
in the
That's
basement.
another field that kind of is becoming less and less, more obsolete, I would say, but I don't know.
Yeah,
From what I see, I mean, you don't see it as often
no,
as it used to be. Yeah, that would be a really interesting profession.
yeah, that was he did some amazing work.
Mhm.
So yeah, I grew up always inspired in an artistic family.
Yeah.
From there, since he had a drafting table, I was always doing drawings, technical drawings, and so the
Mhm.
natural progression was going into that field.
Oh, that's
And then, in the meantime, I kind of found my way into photography and, what I do now, with the 3D renderings and music. It just always had a love for music. So
nice.
that
Yeah.
kind of fell into place.
Yeah. Now, see, I'm artistic, but I can't carry a tune. For
Uh,
my husband's the musician, but
okay.
in my
Yeah.
family, as far as my mom and dad, had no art ability whatsoever. So I mean, it's nice when you have that,
Sure.
background, because you can always ask questions. I learned everything on my own, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of interesting. Well, now, what kind of artwork do you do? What is it? Is it more like expressionism? Is it
Oh,
abstract, or?
a little abstract, but it's a little bit of surrealism mixed with the realism, where I'll take ordinary objects and kind of distort them and kind
Mhm.
of manipulate them in a kind of a dreamlike state, kind of an altered dimension of sorts. Um, and I kind of take everyday objects, like this phone here,
Mhm.
or this calculator here. I'll draw it in 3D construction and kind of situate it in a graphic or a skewed color world, color palette,
Mhm.
things of that sort. And with photography, I do like to really bring out the colors. Mostly HDR. I love working in.
Mm.
I add many layers to it to kind of really bring out the different colors
Oh, okay.
to it.
Mm.
My favorite photography to do anymore is either new construction or like kind of an urban decay, buildings that are kind of crumbling, graffiti all over them.
Oh,
I kind of really like to explore the life and death of our buildings, our structures as we see them.
nice, nice. Yeah, my daughter just took a photography class at Pitt,
Oh, cool.
and she had to do some of that unique kind of thing too, and then manipulate it somehow. I mean, I take a picture, but it's all auto. I don't go with the fancy settings. She had to do all that stuff where she got the motion blur and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of cool. Um, okay, so now, does any of your art ever represent something about yourself? Or now, like with your tie there that you made, do you have cats?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Two.
there you go. So now that's a representation.
Yeah. Love cats. Yes, I call them my kids. So,
Yes. Well, I have two dogs,
yeah.
so they're my kids now. All my kids have left, so kind of that empty nest syndrome kind of
Oh,
thing is
yeah.
all taken over by the dogs.
Yeah. Well, when I moved out of my home from my parents, my mom got a cat as well. So,
Okay. Oh, yeah. I think that's what happens. We tend to do that,
oh yeah, yeah. That seems to be the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the most difficult question as an artist for me to
Mhm.
answer. For me, when I draw things, as I was, using these objects, and it's always that period of time in my life where that's where I'm most centered on.
Mhm.
Lately, my drawing, since I went back to college in 2017, graduated last year.
Oh, good
You
for you.
know, I during that time, I was drawing things of drafting and designs, science oriented, math oriented, where I'm actually drawing equations. Like for our physics class, I'm
Oh,
drawing
oh, wow.
equations we're working on and,
Mhm.
making an artistic representation of it.
Yeah.
And so I guess the best non-answer I could give is it kind of just represents where I am at that particular time. For
Mhm.
right now, that's what I've been drawing. Photography, I always like to go out on photography trips, as I call them, where I'll get in a car and drive to this neighborhood or that neighborhood and just kind of freestyle, look for the sights of the neighborhood, look
Mhm.
for a house that was burnt out or is being torn down or being built up,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's usually what I just park the car, get out, and snap a few pictures, and yeah, and that's and again, it depends what the medium is.
Mhm.
For the electronic music lately, it's been a little less harsh, as it were. I always said, my one of my albums I described as, sounds like a collapsing bridge during the apocalypse, and
Oh.
so like that
Like
that
a metal, is it more like on the metal side, or
well, it's just hard, like kind of a little louder electronic.
okay.
The beats or the thump a little hard,
Mhm.
but now it's I kind of pulled back a little bit from that, and so it all depends,
Mhm.
what I'm going through at the time and how I feel.
Yeah.
And then of course it depends on the medium too. So
Right. Well, now, like for your music, are you like the keyboardist kind? Are you the
the
keyboard?
producer, keyboardist, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And if
Okay, so were you self-taught with that as well, or did you take lessons?
yes, a little bit of both. I took a little bit of piano
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
It's nice to know the official names for what you're actually doing.
Yeah,
So,
I guess that's true. I tried doing piano, but I
yeah.
was definitely hard. It was hard for me to count. I couldn't get those counts right, you
Yeah,
know.
it's just the coordination and then
Yeah.
sitting there, producing it into the
Well, with those
computer
hands. Yeah.
versus, getting your time and, moving your fingers all around.
You're right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's good to learn the
Yeah.
instrument as well.
I think
I'm
so.
not knocking
Yeah.
it by any means.
Yeah. I mean, I tried, but gave up. When my husband was counting like on a 4 count and I came in on a 3, I
Oh,
knew I was no good with this. So, okay. So, now how do you get inspired about your artwork? I mean, is there a way that you do this? Like, what is your inspiration? Do you ever have a block or
yeah, I always consider that on the creative block phenomenon, and
yeah.
it's for me. I always go backwards. I always think of the end product and then work backwards, and that really helps to avoid any blocks because you
Mm,
already see the end of it. You just have
mhm.
to get there, and that's the way I go about my process.
Oh, okay.
Um, for music, I hear the end song and then I work backwards. This is how I'm going to get there.
Mhm.
Where I get into the blocks is the technical aspect of it, where I have this in mind. I'll have a spiral, going various directions, various ways, ending in a different shape than when it started. And it's a matter of like, okay, I want to do that. Now, how do I get the computer to do it? How do I go about clacking that into the system here?
Mhm, mhm,
That's where I really get tripped up sometimes, and
mhm.
sometimes that's what takes the extra few months,
Yeah.
maybe even a year or so before I
Uh,
actually get the software program right, before I actually
like it yeah, like what you hear yeah.
yeah,
What
it's
composing.
frustrating, yeah, frustrating as it is at times,
Mm.
but it's just part of the process.
Yeah, well, it does take time now. I had talked to one musician who said if it took him a year to do something, he probably wouldn't do it. But I think some people, I mean, it doesn't come easy.
No.
Some of these musicians today, like the bigger guys, like they'll dream a note or dream a song and it's there. But I would think it's hard. I mean, it's hard to put that all together and compose it and get it right.
And that's the other reason why I do various mediums, because while I'm
Mhm.
stopped over here or like, hey, I don't feel like composing a song, let me take some photos today. So,
Mhm.
so it's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
yeah, I'm always keeping it moving by
Mhm.
doing something creative each day.
That's
So
nice.
that's
Yeah.
that's why I do various things as well,
Well,
because
that's
yeah,
yeah,
I don't like to wait.
well, I used to be that way too. I couldn't like I had to do all these different things and now I'm kind of just settling back as I get older. It's I just settle back into my art, but I'm doing the YouTube and
Yeah,
interviewing people
we
and
appreciate it.
yeah, so it is still different things, but it's related to the arts. So
Yeah, and most
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So, have you like, is there like any, well, I don't know if so what kind of mediums do you use? I mean, when you do you just do the computer or do you, like when you're painting, do you paint with a certain medium or do you paint or is it all on computer?
Well, I do break out the paints every now and then. My
Mm.
favorite paint is gouache.
Oh,
It's less mess, easy cleanup,
yeah. Yeah.
and you
That's
can't
true.
go wrong. I also like markers. I bought a huge pack of Sharpie markers, and
Oh,
those
okay.
are great. So I have my vintage drafting tools, and my French curves, my triangles, and yeah. So I do break them out every now and then.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Collage as well. I'll have an old comic book I'll chop up and put into it. Old various technology pieces, old floppy disk I'll
Oh,
put in. Just to like I said, to keep the mind moving.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
keep the creative juices flowing.
Yeah, well, like that picture that you sent me that you had some of your artwork displayed in a gallery. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. They kind of look abstracty to me, but I guess there's a method behind you with your doing what you're doing there.
Yeah, those were the fractal generations that I have. They're made by a computer program, and then on top of them, I placed various spent material like circuit boards I grabbed from a VCR or
Mm.
an old computer monitor. Those big beast box things.
Yes.
Broke them down, grabbed a few circuit boards, and I put some lights on it, and it kind of powered them with the switch and battery. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, that was for an art show called Reclaimed, and it was all about using spent material or found objects into your art pieces. So I was like, hey, I do that. Let me submit, and they accepted me. It was real nice.
Oh, cool. Now, do you belong to any certain organizations that, with what you do? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just as we talk, I start thinking about things I'd like to ask. So,
Yeah,
you know,
and sometimes I interrupt because I'm always scared I'll forget the thought.
yeah,
So I'm trying to jump in real quick. South Arts Organization. It's
okay.
out here. A lot of art shows we do at the Galleria in Mount Lebanon. They also have their own studio space, which I absolutely love. It's on South Park Road, has the trolley in front.
I actually belong to that myself, but I never do anything with them. I know that
here
they
in
have,
Pittsburgh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, well, the thing about the Galleria is you have to sit there. And I didn't want to get involved with that because I did that the one year, and I thought I just didn't appreciate it. I don't know why. And
It's
I,
tedious.
yeah, like I could be doing something at home. I'm just
Yeah.
like, and the other they did have figure drawing classes on Fridays, and I didn't know if they still had them, and I thought that it was pretty interesting
Yeah.
too. But I used to be actually a little bit more involved. I had taught some acrylic classes there for a
Oh,
little bit, but I guess the times that I did it, people weren't available, like during the week and things like that. So it got a little crazy. But yeah, that's a pretty nice, interesting place, historic and everything.
oh yeah,
Very
that's a
historic.
lot of fun. I missed the show in September. They were going to have a show in September, and I had so much to do that month, and I was just
Mhm.
exhausted. And
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
that's hard for me to do too. Well, they had the art all night too, which I didn't do this time. I mean, I've always been into it, and I did the ones online, but I just didn't want to be around crowds yet. I'm still a little leery of it. Now they're saying it's
yeah,
getting better for sure, but with my age, I just don't want to be getting COVID.
yeah. Well, each one has to make the decisions on their own health, and each
Yeah, yeah,
person's different. So
it's
you
true,
gotta
true.
gotta
But
make
that's
those.
always a great time. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about different. I don't know if you've ever entered that or not, but it's a lot of fun to see the different artists. Like,
Yeah, I've never went. I've done the pancakes and booze since we're talking
oh
about
yeah, yeah,
Lawrenceville. That was a lot of fun, but that some of those for me it's cross town. It's half hour to 40
oh yeah,
minutes away. Sometimes it's like,
yeah. Well, they used to have
granted,
it with the Rex. I don't know if they still. What the first time I think they had the pancakes and booze, I was going to do it, but then I don't know. I was still working, and I just didn't want to be dealing with that at the time. And then I kind of got away from it. I don't know if they still do. Do they still do it?
I last time I checked, it was on hold due to the pandemic.
COVID. Yeah,
I haven't checked lately though, but
yeah, yeah.
it's the one-off shows, the one-day shows. They're always a little tough because they say, yeah, come out around 2 p.m. and then
Yeah.
pick it up. Either come back at 10 p.m.
Yes.
Hang out till 1 a.m.
Yeah, true.
Like,
True. Yeah, it is. That's what I don't like
okay,
either. Yeah. And the one, well, some of the exhibits that I was in, the woman that did all the exhibit, like got them together, and she did it around a lot of these different organizations. She passed away this year, and I felt so bad. I don't know, Fran Marzi. I don't know if
Oh
you know.
yeah, I know her. Yeah. Oh, she passed away. I didn't know that.
She did, yeah.
Oh,
And yeah, so and Diane Murray, she's another one. I belong to one of her organizations, but I know she's a promoter at South Arts too. She does a lot of
yeah,
work there.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I was devastated when I found out that Fran
Oh,
passed away because she was a nice lady.
oh, yeah, yeah. So sorry here. I didn't even know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, like
Yeah.
she was in a coma, and that was all I know. She died.
Wow.
So, well, I get, I see how I went right off of this.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So, do you have like any favorite artists or musicians that you like, uh, or that has inspired you in any way?
Oh, I like my buddy Tommy T from Diverge out in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
know him. I've known him for via online, via the MySpace era. Back
Okay.
to that again
Uh-huh.
for probably a decade now,
Oh,
maybe,
wow.
maybe a little, maybe even more. But
Yeah.
it's always nice. I've done a few remixes for his band
Oh, nice.
every now and then. I get the opportunity.
Mhm.
Um, so I like reinforced Jim Simonic here in Pittsburgh, and let's see some others. Uh, uh, yeah, and artist. Sorry, nothing. I'm embarrassed to say, nothing
Well,
comes to
yeah,
mind
I guess
right
with
off
your
the off
yeah, with
the.
your type of art, yeah, I mean, it would be hard to, get somebody like influences like Impressionism or, well, Salvador Dali, if you do any kind of type of work, surrealism,
Right, and
be
I
a
do
really
read.
good inspiration for you.
I do read Toast magazine, and I don't know other than Margaret Keane,
Mhm.
the big names, but there's plenty in the pages, and there's lots of the surrealist in there.
Yeah.
That I really enjoy that magazine. I also read Western Art and Architecture magazine,
Oh,
and
yeah.
again, they go through a whole litany of architects and
Mhm.
artists that just page after page.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, again, sorry I can't
Well, you know
rattle
what?
them
People that
offhand.
are, yeah, up and coming, I mean, in years to come,
Yeah,
they'll be like the Impressionism or Salvador or, whoever, or Jackson Pollock kind of guys, I mean, it just, that's the way it is. Art just keeps going.
yeah.
And now you're not in a band currently, you say?
I have a band called The Odd Endeavor,
Okay.
and
Okay.
a new album's coming out tomorrow via Song Trader and Apple Music. It's called Unabridged to Nowhere,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's just the various songs that I've had laying around. I kind of dusted off and uh, put together onto an album.
Oh, cool.
So,
Cool.
and my last album was released in December called Taxi to Eudaimonia.
Oh,
And again, the Odd Endeavor. And that's also on, various streaming platforms. YouTube, it's on.
okay.
Um, and some of my older songs are also on YouTube as well. And the streaming service is Apple Music, Spotify. Um, yeah.
Okay.
So kid
Well,
look
now,
it up.
if people wanted to get in touch with you, there's ways of getting in touch with you or find out. Now, do you have gigs with your band? I,
And no,
I don't
no,
know if I should have actually interviewed you as a musician or an artist because you're like totally all kinds of things here. So now, are you playing anywhere or?
Yeah, no shows out.
Mhm.
Far too busy with so many
Yeah.
things and also family things as well.
Oh, I can
Um,
understand that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you could, like I say, you could listen online from the comfort of your own home or your own car. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, and if you want to get in touch, my website is www. Is that three W's? I
Yes,
lost
I think you did. Okay.
N NRCR, and that's for Nick Romeo, and CR composition and rendering. So NRCR, and it's a .art
Art.
website. So you'll see my T-shirt designs, my
Oh,
visual arts, a little bit of a link to my writings. I also have a book out
oh,
uh,
wow. Okay.
called The Insolent Somnambulist.
Well, we're going to have to get all that information if you can give it
Yeah,
to me, and then I'll have it in the information section.
no, I
Uh,
appreciate it. Yeah.
yeah, that would be great. Because we're all struggling, and I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
like my daughter's written books. As a matter of fact, I'm going to Punxsutawney tomorrow, hopefully, because she's putting together a new book,
Oh, wow.
and I do the illustrations. And talk about illustrating, boy, that is hard because I started out. I
Yeah.
started out
Indeed.
with painting each picture for the first book she
Um,
did, and then it didn't look right when it was printed. So I had to go into like the iPad, which, has helped a little bit more, but I still have a lot to learn. I don't know. Illustrating is very hard to, especially when it's coming out of your own head, because she's got the character, but I have to think of how this guy is looking. It's more of like children's books. Um, so going to Punxsutawney, you can imagine what the book's about. So I want to get some pictures of that, and that I can draw them and things.
oh, congratulations. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's been fun, but it's a lot of pressure now because she wants a deadline on this, and I don't think I'm going to get
Oh.
it done. But oh well. So yeah, if you give me all that information, and then I will definitely put it in the information section, and it'll be up Sunday, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Well, thank
for your
you.
time.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this interview because I haven't talked to such a like large amount of things that you do. It's usually focused on one thing, but I mean, there's so many things that you do we could go on for different subjects. So that's kind of nice. And each one of them, it's kind of funny because each one of them I have done myself, except for the CAD. I don't do that. I can't do CAD, but I mean, I have done just about
I'm
everything.
sure you could learn it with just a few hours here and there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's like anything else. You just have to sit down, study it, and as I've always told people about learning a new computer program, that you got to learn how the computer program communicates. Once
Mhm.
you understand that process, you could pretty much figure out how to do what you want with it, and
Yeah.
using that same language that you learned for the various things that you initially learned.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you understand what I'm
Yeah,
trying
well,
to.
that's true. Like, I mean, I've had to teach myself a lot of different programs. I mean, I'm using Procreate for this book, and I've been teaching myself as time goes on, like different things to do with it. So I think, it always is that way. I mean, I do t-shirts too, so I'm learning how to do that, how to cut and how to design them, and woo. So I know you just have to sit there and practice it.
Yeah, a little bit of what I do with the t-shirts is, and also even the prints now, is I found a company that ships on prints and
Oh,
ships on demand.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
I used to make the t-shirts myself, and
Oh, wow.
break out the iron, and cut it out, and print it out.
Yeah.
And it's just now
Time
with my
consuming.
website, someone collects the money, someone sends, ships and builds and ships and prints,
Yeah.
and does all that. Yeah, if you, I've really tried to streamline the process of,
Yeah.
the printmaking and everything, so that I'm not bogged down with that, and I can just
Mhm.
create like what I want to do initially.
Right. And you have so many things that you're doing, so I can understand that. I have like three things that I do: that, this, and my artwork. And being
All those-
retired, if I don't want to do it, I don't have to. It's just
yeah,
it's
and
I want to keep myself busy because I
oh
don't
yeah,
want to just.
and that's the point. You got to keep it's fun to keep the mind going, and
Oh yeah.
I don't have Netflix. I don't have, Apple TV. I don't have any of those. I do have YouTube, obviously, but,
Mhm.
and that's pretty much all I watch. At the end of the day, I'll watch a little bit of YouTube, various, science or, uh,
Me
shows,
too. Yeah.
discussing the news. But,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
usually my day too. TV has nothing that interests me, anyways. It's changed so much, and it absolutely, like some of these comedy shows. I never get a laugh out of them. Like, I mean, it's just like, what kind of comedy is this? It
yeah,
doesn't. Yeah, maybe for young people it's different, but and then once you go to college too, you're so different after that. I mean, you're so revved up because you're so busy
yeah.
that you can't like just sit still.
It gets you in such a work mode, that
Yeah,
when you get done with college, you're like, well, I got to work, and it's like, what am I doing sitting here eating? It's like, why
yeah, yeah,
sleeping? Why do that? It's just, and it just,
yeah. You
yeah,
never get
you're
away from
right.
it. Yeah, I mean it's constant. Although like when I would come home from work, I'd be pretty drained, my mentally drained, and that's a different thing than being tired or physically.
Right.
And it was hard to think things. So but yeah, I mean I just can't sit still.
No.
Which
Yeah.
is a
Well,
good
we're
thing.
very alike in that area.
Yeah,
It's,
that's yeah, I guess it's a good thing.
yeah, it is. I think it is. It's
Yeah.
beats the alternative.
Yes, that's that's right. That's like waking up every day. You should be happy because you don't want to have it the other way.
Yeah. It's, I'm not the best sleeper anymore, but, I catch myself complaining about it. I'm like, you know what? If you're able to do what you want to do, and progress through the day, you're fine. Just,
That's right.
you'll be all right.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, Nick, it was a pleasure meeting you and
Oh,
talking with you.
thank you for your time. I
Oh,
had a lot
thank
of fun.
you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule because you are a busy boy.
Well,
So,
you are as well.
well, I'm not as busy as you are, but well, today was a little bit busy, but I'm normally not this crazy.
Oh,
Yes.
well, it's so great to meet you.
Well,
And
nice
like
to
I
meet you too. Well, maybe someday we'll meet up at South Arts. Who knows?
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have to keep in contact.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, take care, Nick, and thank you
Yeah,
again. All
you
right.
too. Thanks a lot.
All
See you.
right. We'll see you now. Bye bye.